helping facilitate this meeting and the mastermind. Our slide presentation that we'll be showing today is Rachel Maiorino, co-host. So hello, Rachel. She is projecting live from Mission Creek, as you can see today. But we're happy to be with you here this morning. We've got our board of directors on the call, and I am attempting to do a two-screen experience today, so please bear with me while I share my screen and try to be a little bit more technologically savvy in our Zoom thing, which you think we would be an expert at by now. But today is an exciting day. I hope you all had a really nice weekend. We had a brand new program start in our downtown over the weekend, the Open SLO program, which we're going to hear more about from our friends at the city. But that was an exciting program to see launch. I was downtown on Thursday, on Friday, and on Saturday. So we'll be interested to hear how that went for all of you business owners out there. And we've got some exciting projects that are coming down the line. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, hopefully you can see that now. So these calls are our weekly chance for our board of directors to gather. Here are some smiling faces of the wonderful board of directors of our organization, including our three liaisons, two from the city of San Luis Obispo, from city staff Greg Herman, from city council Aaron Gomez, and from the county of San Luis Obispo, Chris Lopez. And our board of directors has been meeting weekly through the COVID-19 shutdown. This is, I believe, the 14th meeting that we've had during this time. And we also have our regular board of directors meetings, which are happening monthly. And it's great to see you all. Thanks for your participation and your leadership during these crazy times that we call the year 2020. So I would like to give the floor to Rachel now so that we can talk a little bit about where we are in our COVID-19 reality.
Thanks, Bettina. As of Friday, we were at 404 positive cases and thankfully still holding at 1 death in SLO County. We are starting to see surrounding areas such as Santa Barbara having some larger spikes, as well as other states such as Arizona. Their numbers are starting to creep up, which, as well as many other factors, has led to the governor installing a mandatory face covering. Of course, there are exceptions, and it'll be kind of a theme throughout the rest of our presentation of different segments and what that will look like for a business owner, kind of the city's piece on it. So we'll be touching on that kind of throughout, but that did come out as a requirement from the state of California. And just, as we kind of know that we're still in the first wave, we're seeing, little jumps, but this is still the first wave as we're 3 to 4 months in. And the stages for the California roadmap, we're still in stage 2, although as we know, maybe it doesn't necessarily matter what stage we're in. We're just looking to see which pieces are being kind of added on. So we've seen the body art come in and certain things with, of course, a lot of requirements, but we're just looking to see which little sectors are being added on versus really focusing on what stage we're in. And I'll turn it back to you, Bettina.
Great, thanks. So I mentioned earlier that we do have a staff liaison to the county of SLO. And Chris unfortunately could not be here today, but he invited his one of the people he works with, Leah St. James, to share with us some information about what the county is doing, and particularly with a lens for what's going on downtown with county workers. So Leah, thanks for being with us today. We'd love to hear from you. I saw you just a minute ago.
I'm here somewhere.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties, but
we can hear you. But
yeah.
Here you are.
There I am. Hi, everybody. So I just kind of wanted to give an update as to county departments reopening. So the county is anticipating that most public counters will be reopening the week of July 6th. I've heard that the library is working on a plan to reopen their doors July 7th. So that's kind of our target week. It is department by department, so everybody is kind of going through their protocols. But that's our target date for now. And yeah, I'm not sure if anybody has any questions for me or the format, but I just want to let everyone know and remind everybody that readyslo.org is always the place to go for the most up-to-date information.
Thanks, Leah. Can you give us an update on what those reopening of the offices will mean for our downtown? I know there are a number of employees of the county who work in the downtown. About how many do you expect to see coming back when you open July 6th?
I don't have a number on employees that are anticipated to return, but we expect to have full county services available again. So such as the library, where right now we're doing a curbside, people will be able to go inside and check out books. There's not going to be room for people to stay inside, but we anticipate being fully staffed.
Okay. Yeah, we know that county employees are a big part of our lunchtime business crowd. They shop in our shops and visit our institutions. So we're looking.
Yeah. Right. So I would just let businesses know that week of July 6th is when I would expect to see a return of most county employees downtown.
Okay. And one other question for you is if you can communicate with your employees the importance of parking outside of the main corridor. We're really trying, because parking is free currently downtown, we're really trying to get people to park in the upper levels of the parking structure or out in those 10-hour meters as opposed to on the main thoroughfares of our downtown, to leave those open.
Right, absolutely. Yep. We will be sure to pass that on to departments.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate you being here, Leah. Does anybody have any questions for our county representative today? Okay, thanks.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Next up, we have Lee Johnson from the City of SLO, our interim economic development manager. Hi, Lee. Good morning.
Morning, Bettina. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, as Rachel mentioned, we have a couple more business categories open. Kind of the big one, or one that's still not open, is fitness classes with contact, like martial arts, things like that. But otherwise, we're kind of moving through the list. Open SLO went really well over the weekend. We are looking at ways to make it a little better. Some things we can do as far as what's in the street and how we cordon it off and those kind of things, and just make it a little more efficient. But overall, a good start to it. And yes, the face covering came out from the state that they're required. I would say that so far, overall pretty good compliance on face coverings. Where we still have challenges are lines to get into the bars in the evening, and also inside establishments late in the evening. And we're working through that with the various people involved. I've had a lot of businesses ask, what happens if someone comes into my store and I ask them to wear a mask and they will not do so? If you have somebody, first of all, we recommend that you have people wear masks in your store, because it is required by the state, and it's the best way to stay open is for everybody to stay masked. And the businesses that are doing that, requiring it, we appreciate it, and that's what we're trying to do, is educate and have people do it. If you have somebody who will not do it, you can ask them to leave. If they will not leave, you can call PD, the non-emergency line, at 805-781-7312, and they will come out on that call. If they are really belligerent, you can call 911, and again, PD will come. And what generally will happen is it will then become a trespassing because as the business, you're allowed to have them wear the mask, force them to wear the mask. And if they won't do it, it is then trespassing, and then they will get cited and all the things will happen from there. We hope it doesn't come to that. So that's where we are, and we're in the education and outreach phase of the mask wearing. And then as hopefully compliance improves, and we'll go from there. Any questions?
I have a question, Lee. I think it's really helpful to walk through those steps of calling the non-emergency line, and then if things elevate, go to the 911. Is there a fine or what is the compliance look like if somebody doesn't comply?
So depending on the situation, if they're in a store and they will not comply with the store's request to wear a mask, then they will be trespassing and they will get cited, and worst case, they will get taken off to another place where they don't want to go. And there's fines related to that. It just depends on the behavior. And to be aware, there are people with medical issues out there. And if somebody says they have a medical issue, your options are a little bit more, or everyone's options are a little bit more limited. And that's kind of a situation that is outside the normal process. And it's basically, if someone has a medical issue, there's not much then that can be done. If, let's say, there's an establishment that does not regularly enforce mask wearing in their line or inside the establishment, that process is code enforcement. They'll be notified, education, warning, and then from there, they can be cited and fines can occur after that, because the order is pretty explicit on mask wearing and social distancing.
Okay, thank you for that. And I understand that the municipal code of the city probably does not include mask guidelines at this time. So you're all adapting in real time to the governor's orders too, right?
Yeah, but the order on the masks and social distancing, some of the other guidelines that are in what the county has put out and the state has put out are a little bit more fluid, but the social distancing of 6 feet and the masks are very clear, and there are processes around that. And so far we've had really good compliance. I think the later you get in the evening, the less compliance there is. But downtown, on Saturday, there was a lot of businesses requiring people to come in with a mask. There was a lot of people wearing masks, and and if we want to stay open, the best thing we can do is wear the mask. If we don't enforce masks and people don't wear masks, that creates the likelihood that we're going to have additional problems. And then we are where we are at that point. But it's kind of to me, it's basic common courtesy to wear a mask and protect other people and try and keep us open. It's a very small thing to be asked to do, considering where we are in the status of our global pandemic. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I agree, and it's been really good to see kind of the controversy around this. I think has subsided a little bit, because I've spoken to several of you and other business owners who aren't on this call about, now that there is actually an order in place, it'll be easier to deal with customers who are coming in and not complying. So clarity in all things is always appreciated. And I think that that will give us the opportunity to have some conversations that are different maybe from some of the ones that we've been before. Thank you for that, Lee. And I'm wondering if we could just talk a little bit about the Open SLO program, because it was the first weekend. And I know I was downtown on Saturday, and I saw, I'm going to call on Stephen Patrick. He was a participant in the Open SLO program. Stephen, would you be willing to provide your perspective on what the process was and how that went from you as a business owner?
Sure. Am I unmuted?
You are.
Okay, good. The process was extremely easy with the city. We were really happy about how fast that went. We did need to provide proof of liability insurance, which makes sense. But again, that process went fast. We probably had it in about 48 hours. It was successful. we would like to see some more, we need some more businesses open to fill the tables on the street. That's kind of what I was seeing. Like if Moe's Barbecue was open, more tables out there would have been filled. But it got progressively busier as people understood that the streets were open. A little confusion at first. People were trying to stay on the sidewalks and then realized, hey, I can be out, you know, in the main street area and be safe from cars and vehicles. So it picked up. It got nice and busy on Saturday. I'm not sure how Sunday went because I wasn't open, but it was a good weekend. It's a great program.
Excellent. And do you anticipate participating one day a week? Or are you going to do 2 days a week? Are you going to play it by ear?
Yeah, just Sundays will be the day I won't participate, but the other days will be open.
That's great.
Yeah, it's good.
And Lee, I'm not sure if you have any information about how many businesses have applied to be part of the program, especially with Hagera opening up this Friday.
I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it is getting, and as Stephen said, I think the more people we can get out there, the better. And we're talking about, there's a lot of people who have applied. We're trying to turn the permits as quickly as we can, and it's going pretty well. We're also looking at allowing some of these first days and the first weekends, we're kind of limiting people's space a little bit because we don't know if their neighbors are going to apply for a permit and that kind of stuff. But as we get better at it and we get more clarity on who's going to do it, hopefully we'll be able to expand the spaces for people who are really using it. And we're looking at other means to make it more clear to people that they can actually walk down the street and all that kind of stuff. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but we are getting pretty good response, and it's great to see that we're also seeing retailers want to do it. Initially, it was kind of mostly restaurants, but now we're seeing more retailers who want to do it, and we're seeing other people downtown who are interested in getting a space on Hagera or Monterey, who are already downtown, but maybe on Marsh or someplace else. So we're trying to get to yes with everybody and find a way to make it work.
Love that. Get to yes. That's great. Yeah, it's exciting to see this because, you know, I was talking to somebody last week, and with everything that's been going on, it's a little hard to remember sometimes that if we were in normal times, this would be like the biggest news story of San Luis Obispo. And it is really exciting, and it would be really cool to see the program evolve and take shape. And to see the businesses become imaginative and even more imaginative than they've been already about how they can participate and make this an exciting experience for everybody. So just a reminder for everybody that we are looking ahead to this Friday evening from 5 to 8. Hagera Street will be closed. So Monterey will again be closed Thursday, Friday, 5 to 8 p.m. And then Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And Hagera will be closed Friday evening, 5 to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if you want to apply for that, and we encourage you to do so, please go to openslo.org and sign up there. So thank you for that. And one other topic for you, we were just curious about the Marsh Street Bridge project. Speaking of streets in the downtown.
On schedule. I mean, it's pretty crazy, you know, looking at that and seeing it totally gone and the work that's happening. But as far as I know, we're moving ahead. But Pat may be able to give a better update since he can look out the window. Just kidding.
Yeah, Pat, our board president, Pat Arnold, is on the line. Can you give us a line?
Yeah, they are working away. They are in the creek. They keep dropping off a lot of. They brought a huge drilling rig in the other day, and I can actually see them working as I speak. So the hole keeps getting wider and bigger, but there are guys every day, and every time I ask them, it sounds like they're right on track and right on schedule.
Great, and I'm just seeing in my chat that there are a couple of observations here. Carl says that they were downtown Saturday evening and the majority of people were not wearing masks. I think my question would be, were they wearing masks when they were indoors, right? Because we do not have to wear them outdoors as long as we're able to maintain that 6 feet distance. So that might be part of it. And also it's just going to be an education thing going forward. And then Stephen asked, are there going to be more hand washing stations on their way downtown? Lee, do you know if that is?
I don't know the answer to that. I think there was a rush on hand washing stations and the supply chain, et cetera. So I don't know what the status on the hand washing stations and getting more is. I don't know if someone else from the city on the call has the answer, but I can look into it and let you know.
Okay, thank you. I know we're also looking ahead to bringing back our farmers market, and we'll be wanting to know if there are more hand washing stations in the downtown so that we can provide that for our vendors as well. And stay tuned on that. We're hoping to have some more clarity about when we'll be able to bring the farmers market back very soon. So up next we have Jim D'Antona from the SLO Chamber. Jim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. We're as we said last week. We had our first full week in the office, and so we're half the team's back. Plus, the visitor center's open. Had a great week. People were very respectful. We require masks when we have folks come in. We distance, and so all of that came out really well. So we were really impressed and thankful that people were following. We didn't have much struggle with folks wanting to ignore those rules. So that was great. We finished our last free. We were doing weekly free webinars. That last Thursday was our last weekly one. We'll be probably moving those now to a monthly as people are reopening and figuring out what they want to work and how to work through it. And then we will circle back kind of in July with like a monthly one to see if there's things that really need to be kind of highlighted, bring in guests to talk about issues specific to the reopening and or future issues. So don't look for those weekly now, but we will certainly let you know as those monthly ones are happening. But through June, we won't have those specifically. This Thursday is Good Morning SLO. And so we're bringing that back. And actually, after our first one was a very kind of webinar style, we have, after doing our survey, we found out from our guests that they would like it more like this, like more of a meeting style where people can see each other's faces. And Carl can send you a private message that's makes fun of you or whatever, right? It's something that has that connection that feels more like Good Morning SLO. And so we're going to do that. And so we'll, hopefully we can control it so that, as you do here, that the speakers aren't interrupted, but could be a really great. We'll kick off with a little early. We're going to open it early, 7:30, have like 15 minutes of open time to do whatever you'd like. Then at the end, we'll leave it open so you can also do more of that connection. Carl Dudley firing away. And then, make it feel as close to Good Morning SLO until we can get back together. So that's this Thursday. And then next Tuesday, we'll have our Insight Studio program running, and we're doing a great discussion on answering the unanswerable question, which is that question with, well, what does the next 6 months look like? You, as a boss, you're going to want to, answer a question, or an owner and answer a question, but sometimes there's just questions you can't answer, and it actually helps you to not answer them as opposed to making up something that may come back and bite you. So that'll be next Tuesday again, as we go through this process of reopening and you're getting questions from your employees. We felt like that was a really important discussion point, because you could create a gigantic amount of liability for yourself by answering a question you don't know. I mean, you can't predict. It's impossible. So that's kind of what we're going. And but we're here, and looking forward to partnering on all of the things. That Open SLO is amazing. It turned out really well. I think it'll get better and better as people figure out exactly how to work within it. We may be taking part in some of that too from the visitor center side too. So really looking forward to it. And thanks for
I'm
having
glad
us.
to hear you say that. That was one of the things I thought when I walked downtown on Saturday afternoon. I thought, oh my gosh, the visitor center could have some materials out here. So there's one.
Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, well, it's definitely something we were talking about. We wanted to see how it, if it was more, we didn't want to take up space from somebody that could use it, like a restaurant, but looking like how we could do it, I think Stephen talked about, we should just fill that up, and where we can, we will. So we're working on that program this week.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Here's looking to another good week ahead. And we are also having some conversations around expanding the conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and working together as a business community to try to initiate some challenging conversations that are very necessary. So we'll hopefully have some more information about that coming up soon. And now we're going to call on our friend Lynn Ann from Humankind. Lynn Ann had a fabulous idea, and we're going to let her tell you all about it.
All right, thanks for letting me join the call today. So I'm the manager over at Humankind Fair Trade, and for you other retailers, if you're like us, you probably have some inventory that you haven't sold very well for the past 3 months, and we just, at Humankind, we just have inventory we need to move, and you're probably in the same boat. So what I have been talking to some other businesses about is doing a sidewalk sale, but kind of a downtown-wide coordinated event where we can all promote one day where we're all doing these sidewalk sales. The Open SLO program is just a really great opportunity to expand into the street. And I want to be able to make the most of that space. And I've heard that sidewalk sales used to be a thing downtown. I think that was before I was here, but yeah, I'm really excited about kind of bringing that back and just kind of taking back the streets. And so the date that I've been looking at is July 11. It'd be a Saturday, just kind of a full day event. And that would be the day that we would all just promote that we're doing our own sidewalk sales. And so if we're all coordinating and promoting this together, it would just draw more engagement and bring more people. It just seems like a way that we can, as retailers, just support each other and just kind of feed off of each other's social media and be able to cross promote an event and support each other in this way. So I have talked to some other businesses that are already on board, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, if you're a retailer, just mark your calendars for July 11. And so then if you do want to be involved, of course, you will need to fill out the permit for the Open SLO program. Of course, it's free and it's pretty simple. Just take some paperwork. So as we heard, it's not that difficult, but please do that. And then if you want to participate, please also just contact me and let me know. I'll be doing some social media posts around this and Facebook event. So just let me know and I can include you in our marketing, and then we can kind of share all of that social media between each other. So just contact me. My contact info is up on the screen. You can text me, call me, or email me and let me know that you want to be involved. And you're welcome to use that graphic too. I can send it to you.
This is so cool, Lynn Ann. Thank you for putting this together. We will, of course, at Downtown SLO be very happy to promote this. And I just applaud you for coming up with the idea. I think it'll be really, really great. And it doesn't have to necessarily be too structured necessarily, right? It can just be you all participate in the ways that you see as being appropriate. So we will absolutely be promoting this on our social media channels, including, perhaps even our farmers market social media and our Concerts in the Plaza social media that have lots and thousands of followers as a way to try to entice people to come downtown and feel safe and build consumer confidence and help support you and get rid of some of that retail inventory that was just hanging out there for a couple of months.
Yes, great, thank you.
And we think it'll also help the other businesses in the downtown, right? So thank you for that idea. And I think, I don't know if Pierre is on the call right now, but I bet there are some fun historic photos of what the sidewalk sales used to look like. And that might be a fun promotional material to do, like a side-by-side of, back in the day and now.
Yes, send photos my way if anyone has them. Please email them to me and I'd be happy to share them.
That'd be really great. Well, thank you. Just a reminder that we do still have our We Got This kits for businesses that are coming back, especially if you are, new in your office and you've been in a second or third story business. Get in touch with us. You can contact us, and our ambassador Austin will be coming to bring you a kit. We have lots of gloves available. They are very long gloves. They kind of come up to about here. And we have lots of sanitizer available too. So let us know if you are interested in getting those. We don't have as many masks, and with the mask ordinance, we're definitely going to be seeing more of that. So I will order some more. But we hope that this is helpful as you go into the reopening and into the mask ordinance. And thank you to Guaranteed Rate Mortgage for sponsoring this program, and to everybody who has donated to our Friends of Downtown SLO 501c3 charitable organization. We really appreciate it. As you know, and I've been talking about this for a few weeks now, I just wanted to remind everybody that our organizational operations have been impacted beyond just our events being canceled or postponed. We have reduced our operating budget and our workforce by 50%. So we're really focusing on how to safely resume our events, and we're absolutely dedicated to continuing to advocate for and support downtown. But we have been impacted, and so we're really hoping that we can respond to you in a timely manner, but we appreciate your patience if we're not able to get back to you as quickly as we hoped. So thank you for your patience, and we are here to serve you. So our team now is me, from a time before I used to get haircuts, and Rachel, who's on the call as well, and Whitney Cheney, our farmers market manager turned IT expert and social media website master, and Austin Bertucci, our ambassador, who you'll see out and about cleaning up our community and providing that fabulous smile, even though he doesn't have the mustache anymore. In response to the Black Lives Matter protests that have been taking place and the conversation around anti-racism and equity in our nation and around our world, we did issue a statement, Downtown SLO Stands Against Racism, and there's a graphic that is available. We had a couple of businesses reach out last week wanting to print this out and put that in their windows. And we love that. We think that's a really great idea. So if you're interested in downloading this graphic, we will put this on our website. Our values are internal to our organization, so we don't need to put those in your windows unless if your business completely aligns with them. But we love the Downtown SLO Stands Against Racism graphic, and it would be great if you could communicate that message. We're dedicated to learning. We're all learning. I'm reading a really fantastic book right now called The Warmth of Other Suns. That's about the Great Migration that took place over 60 years from people who were enslaved, and then they left the South to go into the free states, and how that shaped our urban environments and our cities' cultures and public spaces and architecture and everything. So this is definitely an active conversation that we're having. And this morning I was on a call with the International Downtown Association. We have bi-weekly meetings of CEOs of other downtowns, and it's really interesting to hear about how every downtown is responding to protests, to the conversations around defunding the police or allocating resources toward alternative methods of policing. And it's just an ongoing discussion, and I want to let you know that we are participating in those national, statewide, and even international conversations. So that work continues. There is a toolkit for creating inclusive places from the International Downtown Association, and we'll be diving in and learning more about this. I also shared it with the HRC, with the city. They are going to be looking at expanding equity and inclusion in the city of SLO, so maybe they can use this as a resource as well. I think we were waiting until the end of the call to have Judy. Judy, are you out there to give us their SPDC update? Judy is not here. Okay. Well, I can provide you a quick update, which is that the EIDL is now available for all businesses and nonprofits to apply again. There was a time when it was only open to agricultural businesses, but it has received more funding. So if you did not apply for the EIDL prior to it being losing its funding initially, and then when it was just in the agricultural businesses only category, you can now do that if you go onto that website. So the SPDC does continue to be a resource, even though Judy is not here with us today. I know that she is with us in spirit. So continue to work with them if you have not signed on to become a client with the SPDC and you represent a small business. I highly recommend signing up and getting connected to their wonderful resources. So at this time, this is the time where we open up for questions, and I'm just curious how everyone is doing out there. We'd love to hear from you about, what your experience was in Open SLO. If you have any questions or concerns about the mask ordinance, about the COVID-19 continual issues, let us know. You can drop them in the chat or we can call on you. Anybody? We really do endeavor to make these meetings meaningful. I think, as I said at the beginning of this meeting, this is the 14th, I believe, and we will continue meeting weekly until it seems like it's not useful anymore, but we're getting good feedback from you all that this is helpful. So let us know if you have any additional questions. Rachel, do you have anything to add this week? Pat, as board president, do you have anything you want to say? I think he's having another conversation. Okay, well, I guess we are moving. Oh, does Cal Poly have an estimate of fall students returning to SLO? So Courtney Keno is our board liaison to Cal Poly, and she is not able to be here today. Last week, she gave us an update that their current plan is, I believe, to have 20% of the classes take place in the classroom or on campus, which is 5% more than the general CSU. And Rachel, please chime in if I'm not reporting this correctly. And then they are planning to start the fall quarter a little bit early so that when they close for the Thanksgiving break, that will be the end. And then there will be a break from Thanksgiving to the winter quarter, and there will not be students here between Thanksgiving and after the new year. That's my understanding. But Courtney did send us a message this morning that they're still working out the details on those plans. So all of the schools, all of the universities are really struggling through how to make this work. So hopefully we'll have an update for you soon, and I hope that was a helpful answer. Oh yes, and Rachel points out that coronavirus.calpoly.edu is a great source for that. Miriam asks, could downtown SLO create a sign that businesses could post that would show a unified message about people having to wear masks and keeping social distance? I think that's a really great question. There is, oh, is that Lee?
Yeah, there's one on the county's emergency SLO site already that businesses can use. emergencyslo.org resources general face covering notice, and there's one in English and Spanish.
Cool, and Rachel just dropped that in the chat, so that's a good one. I also want to give some shout out to whoever did the signage at Open SLO. I thought that was really clever. All of the stick people are wearing masks, although Whitney thought they looked like stormtroopers. But I thought they looked very obviously like they were wearing masks. So that is part of the messaging that we can share with you. And the History Center will be reopening the Dalliday Gardens in July. That's great. The museum is not open at this time. That makes sense. Okay. And yeah, Austin says that Giuseppe's Finney's utilize the Open SLO space very well. It was really cool, and it did not feel crammed given our 6 feet distance requirements. And I think this is an important moment to just remind everybody that the reason that Open SLO exists is so that we can maintain that social distancing and still visit businesses whose occupancy has been dramatically reduced given the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's the point of this, right? It's not to create a giant street fair, but rather it's to give people space to enjoy businesses safely. And since I have been talking, it looks like Judy has joined us. So perhaps, Judy, we could get an update from you on the SPDC.
Hi, Bettina. Thank you. Thank you. So not a lot of updates this morning, just one major update on the PPP Loan Forgiveness. There is a new loan forgiveness application that came out on June 16th. It's called the Easy application, letter E, letter Z, and I'm going to connect it into the, or share a link in the chat box. Right here, it's in the chat box. It's from the Treasury. So there's a new format that came out. That's the only major update I have today. Nothing since last week. We talked about the Main Street lender program. That program is still a bit of a challenge because we need to make sure lenders apply for the program to become lenders to support businesses that would like to apply for a loan through this new program. I am not aware as of today of any local lenders yet, but if there are businesses out there who are interested in pursuing this loan program, they should contact us and we will try and find a lender. I can contact the SBA directly and see if there's someone out of the area that would support that program at this time.
Thank you. And I pulled up the PPP loan forgiveness application. So it expires 10/31.
Correct.
Is your recommendation that businesses fill this out now, or do they wait until
once they've expended their loan, so they now have 24 weeks to expend their loan. As soon as that loan's been expended, yes, they should immediately apply for the loan forgiveness. They have I'll have to get back to you, Bettina, and can definitely share some more detailed information that you can share through an e-blast, through your newsletter, on the exact steps that need to be taken. The best recommendation, honestly, is again to talk to the lender, to the bank that you're working with. You will be submitting this document to the banker, to the bank that you've been working with. So I would recommend doing it together with your loan officer that you've been working with, and plan for a timeline, plan for and calendar it to make sure that you're on the same timeline with your lender and that you're all on the same page.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's helpful. I know for some of our businesses, they may have been waiting to start accessing that PPP funding because they weren't sure when their business was going to be allowed to reopen. So they might be on a little bit more extended timeline from some of the other businesses that might be more administrative based or maybe not in the retail or self-care salon.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And do you hear anything about any additional advocacy efforts or extended legislation around the CARES Act? I know another conversation we've been having with some of our business owners is the challenge about hiring back employees when their employees are making more on unemployment than they would coming back to work.
Yeah, and back to, I think we touched on this, but it's a good time to reiterate. If the employer has made a good faith effort to reach back out to the employee force to try to offer them their jobs back, that's sufficient to qualify for proof of meeting that requirement of trying to bring back your employee workforce back to the level it was at prior to February 15. So that requirement has been loosened up tremendously now for forgiveness. Now the bigger question to your point is, helping these businesses find talent and connect with potential employees, and to bring to actually find people to come back to work. So that's more of a strategic management operational question than it is a PPP or a loan question at this point. It is a challenge. And I'm not entirely sure how we address that. I think I would recommend maybe what we can do next week is bring one of our HR consultants on board to help answer those questions and manage those questions. I know there's technicalities with the EDD where employers technically should report certain activity to the EDD. And that's something we can look into, but it's also a pretty sensitive topic.
Sure, and I know just anecdotally, I'm hearing from a lot of people and seeing a lot of social media posts about, oh, we're hiring, we're trying to, bring people back, and I'm imagining that part of that might also be due to Cal Poly students not being around as much, which, there's usually that summertime lag where students don't participate in the summer quarter and they might be going off to do other internships or work at home. But it's interesting to try to track those trends and see how they compare to, pre-COVID now versus last year and see what the real data shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love the idea of bringing on an HR person.
Yeah, because I think there's it's a sensitive topic. I'm not an employment attorney, so it's not an area I know much about, but I think we need to step carefully and get some answers from experts on this topic. It's a sensitive topic. Yeah. Certainly,
and it is, just to bring it back to what we were discussing about the Open SLO program. It's an issue when businesses don't have adequate staff to maintain operational hours, and then they want to expand out into the street. I think there are a lot of businesses who would be really interested in participating in the Open SLO program, but they simply don't have the staffing to do so.
And I know there's some reporting obligations that need to take place, and that's the sensitive part, is what are employers needing to report back to the EDD versus not. And that's the part that I think we need an expert to assist us with. Anecdotally, what I have seen in my environment is, I have teenagers at home between the age of 15 and 18, and I've never seen them get more job offers in a summer. So, be creative. They're all in the restaurant industry. These kids are now all working in the restaurant industry, and they're super stoked. They're really happy. They're working hard. So maybe that's an untapped network there that could help fill the gap for the next 2 months. But they're all super excited to be working, and it's awesome that a lot of the restaurant owners are giving them the opportunity to just step up and go for it, because they can't find anyone else to come back and work. So that's my little anecdote for the day.
Well, that's great. And you are you're making them better humans. I mean, I started working in restaurants when I was 14, and I firmly believe that everybody should work in the restaurant business because it teaches you a lot about human psychology.
It's a life lesson for sure.
Yeah, totally. Let's see, we have another question. What if an employee wants to come back but is not willing to do modified duties? Also, the potential income is not the same due to the social distancing, aka less capacity, so the job offer may not be exactly the same as prior employment. Does that mean they're quitting, or is the business deemed responsible? Miriam, I also am not an employment lawyer. I don't know if we have any employment attorneys on the call right now. That's an excellent question, and I don't want to blow it off, but I actually don't feel qualified to answer that question at this time. And yeah, I think that might be a conversation you need to have either with EDD or with an HR specialist. Yeah. If anyone else has another option, let me know. We see a request. David, are you able to give us an update on Hotel SLO? I will tell you my experience at Hotel SLO visiting the rooftop bar last week. It is quite a lovely space for responsible social distancing. So congratulations on getting that open. David, can you tell us about what's going on at Hotel SLO?
Sure. Surprisingly busy. Again, I think having all these open spaces has made a big difference. Being able to serve people both food and beverage outside, but within the facility has driven a little bit more business than what we initially intended. So we're making adjustments daily now to accommodate that and maintain the distancing. We don't wish to police, so we've sort of set things up so that it automatically sort of creates that space needed. Getting people back to work has been a challenge. However, the benefit's going to end, and I think people that are forward thinkers realize that, hey, I better take the work while I can. What we're finding, particularly for the people that have come back to work, is they're making more money, particularly in gratuities and tips, because there are less people working. And our biggest challenge is maintaining a standard that people want to come back to with less associates. But for the associates that have come back, they're doing quite well. I just did payroll last week, and I was looking at the payroll, not so much from an hourly standpoint, but from the servers and the gratuity standpoint, and it's beyond expectation, I think, for them, and they've even commented to me. So we continue to work at it, try and make it better, and provide the best service we can with a limited staff. But we are blessed with lots of outdoor space, and that is working currently for us right now.
Great, thanks, David.
Thank you.
And I believe that Hotel Cerro is also open, so we'll hopefully get some feedback from them. I know they had a job fair. Speaking of employment, they had some people lining up outside to take some positions in their hotel, and they were only open for 1 month before the shutdown. So that's a whole other set of challenges. But we're definitely seeing, I believe, more visitors around the downtown. That certainly is pretty clear to me, just walking by people and hearing them, ask about directions or trying to get indications of where to go. So it'll be interesting to see how that continues to unfold over the coming weeks. And it's funny that you brought up the question of people getting tips. I was looking back on some of my notes about where we were at the middle of March, and our organization issued a How to Support Small Businesses graphic, and it still hangs in our window. And one of the things that we really invite people to do is to tip more, because we know that the service industry is really affected by this. So it's good to see that play out and to see that people are being generous, and hopefully that will continue, and that we can continue to see some resurgence in the economy. I have been also following very closely some of the jobs numbers and the retail sales numbers that are coming out nationally. You may have heard last week about retail recovery from May over April that was startlingly way up from where they anticipated. And that looks like it's good news in the short term, but if you compare retail sales year over year, we're still very, very much down. So it's important when you're looking at these trends and you're looking at your sales to put it in the context of not just where your monthly sales and your monthly earnings are coming into perspective month over month, but also year over year. And we do anticipate, we've been saying this from the beginning, that this will be a long recovery. And as Rachel shared at the beginning of this call, our numbers in terms of the COVID-19 cases are beginning to rise. We've been very fortunate. We haven't been terribly affected by the disease in this community, but we still could be, and that might be coming ahead. So let's just embrace the reality that we're all living in, knowing that it changes all the time. And thank you for your time on this call. We ended up going almost to an hour today. I thought we were going to go early, but at this time, I think we'll call it the end of the day. And my observation to all of you today is just that we're so lucky to live in a beautiful place with fantastically intelligent, well-intentioned, clever people. So let's keep lifting each other up, and we will see you next Monday. Be well.